All right, we're gonna go to another incredibly fucked up situation. Senator Alex Padilla forcibly removed from press briefing by Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. I gotta pee real quick. I'll be back.
The fact of the matter is, half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been docked and what they have tried to insert into the state. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla.
specifically
I have
to the
questions for
rioters and
the
to the
secretary,
politicians and
because the
their
fact of the
families.
matter is, half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted, and how their families have.
All right, volatile situation breaking right now. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is going to be with us in a minute. California Senator Alex Padilla is now speaking outside the FBI building. Let's listen.
I'm here
let's listen in.
Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of my responsibility as a senator to provide oversight and accountability. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues, have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country. We will hold this administration accountable. And we'll have more to say. We'll have more to say in the...
It's so wild that all of the most ridiculous fantasies of Republicans, the most ridiculous hysterics of the Republicans, of like the Democratic Party somehow enforcing tremendous control over their lives and being aggressive and militant, all of that is precisely what the Republicans are now doing to everyone. Like, for years, Republicans hysterically cried about how this was what was going on. This is what the Democrats wanted to do to them. And now they are literally doing it. They're doing the actual thing that they claim the Democrats might want to do in the future. Watch to the very end when they tell the senator's staffer there's no recording allowed as they drive him to the ground after physically removing him from a press conference. Yes, their position is that there is no recording allowed at a press event.
If you let my hands go ahead, stand behind my back.
All right, cool. One hand, lay flat, lay flat. Other hand, sir. Other hand. There's no recording allowed out here. I did not know. There's no recording
What do you mean there's no recording allowed in here?
allowed out here per FBI, right? Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go ahead, stand behind my back.
All right, cool. One hand, lay flat.
I mean, Alex Padilla is right. If they do this to a senator for asking a question, what are they doing to everybody else? What are they doing to average citizens who don't have this protection? Schumer made this announcement in the middle of a debate on a bill where Democrats were collaborating with the Republicans on crypto legislation. How can you compartmentalize these two actions is beyond me.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator. We need immediate answers to what the hell went on. I yield the floor.
Well, my goat. He's really doing it now. Chat, you done pissed him off. You won't like him when he's angry. Shifty Schiff wants an investigation. Adam Schiff, Padilla's delegation partner, says there should be an investigation for the officers who apprehended Padilla to be treated the way he has, to be essentially brought to the ground and shackled as a disgraceful action. Like, how are people not recognizing this? How are politicians in the Democratic Party not even invested in this for simple self-preservation? Like, you might be invested, you might not care about your constituents getting brutalized, right? Many of them don't. They're assholes. All they care about is power. Okay, well, this is directly threatening your life. Not just your livelihood, not just your position in society, but just your life too. How are you not recognizing the terrifying nature, the authoritarian creep? Like, you can't even defend yourself. Like, that's how it feels like. It feels like Democrats are such pussies that they don't even want to defend themselves. Okay? Noem responds to Padilla being forcibly removed. I don't even know the senator. He did not request a meeting with me or speak with me. So when I leave here, I'll have a conversation with him. I think everybody in America would agree that was inappropriate. Wait, is she saying that the apprehension was inappropriate, or is she saying that the senator from California that was demanding a question from the Department of Homeland Security secretary was inappropriate?
Oh, you know what? I don't even know the senator. He did not request a meeting with me or to speak with me. So when I leave here, I'll have a conversation with him and visit and find out really what his concerns were. I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate.
I genuinely can't tell if she's saying, oh, she's saying the senator was doing something inappropriate. Nice. Okay. I don't know. Maybe she wasn't. I don't want to think that she is saying. The interruption was inappropriate is what she's saying. Oh my God. Oh, that is insane. I don't agree with what happened, but this is actually Alex Padilla's karma for dehumanizing Palestinians who pro-Israel votes. Yeah, except in this situation, what goes around comes around, but he is literally doing the right thing. He was doing the right thing by demanding answers and trying to do right by his constituents. So, you know, I don't disagree with you as far as like what these guys do and what these guys entertain in terms of what happens to Palestinians with our weapons, with our tax dollars, and our appetite for violence. Our appetite for violence overseas certainly plays a role in our appetite for violence here and our analysis of what kind of violence is permissible here. Okay? It does. What goes around does come around. Having said that, I think in this moment, you know, we have to be a little bit more tactical with our approach, because what happened here is completely unjustifiable, and Alex Padilla was tackled to the ground for doing the right thing. beau of the show, DHS spokesperson Trisha weighs in. Trisha McLaughlin. Senator Padilla chose, oh yeah, the one who said I was lying for likes. Senator Padilla chose disrespectful political theater and interrupted a live press conference without identifying himself or having a Senate security pin on as he lunged towards Secretary Noem. Mr. Padilla was told repeatedly to back away and did not comply with the officer's repeated commands. Secret Service thought he was an attacker and officers acted appropriately. Secretary Noem met with Senator Padilla after and held a 15-minute meeting. New Quinnipiac poll shows Senate Democrats have Trump's approval rating is 38 to 53. GOP's approval rating is 32 to 61. Okay? Approval rating is 32, disapproval is 61. Trump's approval rating is 38, disapproval is 53. But they have one thing going for them. Democrats are even more unpopular. The Democratic Party's approval rating is 21% approval to 70% disapproval. And the reason for why is because the Democrats have lost their own base. They have designed their campaigns, as I warned, against my warnings, against my wishes. This is exactly what I was talking about when I said Democrats are simply eroding trust within their base of support by constantly trying to bring in support from this mystical, fantastical, non-existent, middle of the road voters or Republican Party voters that will then turn around and be like, well, I want to vote for the reasonable party, the reasonable fascist party. It's not going to happen. And here we are. And if they don't change, if they do not change their attitude, they are permanently fucked. And them being permanently fucked is not a good thing. I'm not a defender of the Democratic Party. Fuck the Democratic Party. But them having this little, not enjoying even a little bit of confidence is warranted, but it's also dangerous. Because if there's no counterbalance, if there's no pushback against growing fascism, then it's over. ICE agents at a workplace raid. You guys understand we have a signed warrant to be here, worker, and here's my bag of fucks.
You guys understand we have a signed warrant authorizing us from a judge to be here. And here's my bag of fucks. I'm just telling you. You say we don't have a right to be here. Apparently a judge did that. I don't give a fuck about a warrant, nothing. You guys understand we have a
Hasanabi is a troublemaker. This guy comes in, and I think in my headcanon, this dude who comes in and says this every day is like 75 years old. But he comes in here every day and says this. Like, I'm a whippersnapper, a scoundrel.